Welcome to the Lesson 2 Fireside Chat on Psychological Research. This is also Chapter 2 in your OpenStax textbook. In this chapter, what we focus on is the ology part of psychology. So Lesson 1 was about what psychology is, the definition, the traditional concepts and current concepts, as well as a bit of the history of psychological thinking. That's the psych part. So Lesson 2 is the ology part. Ology, of course, meaning study of. So without Chapter 2, or Lesson 2, we wouldn't have psychology as a science. It may have just remained as a philosophical field or subfield. So Lesson 2 will focus on why research is important, the various approaches to research, a little bit of analyzing finds and what they mean, and an introductory discussion on the ethics of research, including a current controversy in the field, which we think you'll find pretty fascinating. So first of all, why is research important? It's important to distinguish psychology as a science, and you should know that psychology is actually considered one of the STEM fields. So to think of psychology as a science, then, is absolutely essential for us going forward in this course. So again, why is it important? Well, first of all, research and the application of the scientific method is how we know everything that we know in psychology. So nothing is just a matter of opinion or what someone thinks is going on or even just what's popular right now. We let the data show us what's going on. So certainly one would look around at the world and come up with ideas about what might be happening, but the scientific process starts when you then take those ideas and begin to test them out. So Chapter 2 begins with the scientific method. You'll likely recognize this diagram from prior to entry to college. This is absolutely central to what psychology does as a science as well as any other scientific field. In psychology, we have a number of approaches to research, not unlike medicine or biology or other fields. What we'll focus on in Lesson 2 are case studies. Of course, these are very classic to psychology, especially Freud and a lot of clinical research. We'll also focus on naturalistic observation, which is a great way to get an initial set of ideas about what might be going on with the behavioral phenomenon that you are interested in studying. We'll talk quite a bit about surveys and survey designs and what surveys can and cannot tell us. And we'll talk a little bit about archival research as well. Finally, of course, the classic experimental method will be examined. One thing you'll notice here is there are two broad classifications in our lesson design or structure. One is the survey and correlational approach, and the other is the experimental approach. Those are two distinct broad classes of research methodologies. What we have here is the correlational approach, which is often involved when you do surveys. In surveys, you're measuring several variables, and then you are looking to see how those variables are mathematically or statistically connected to one another. That's called the correlation, and so we'll examine a number of scatter plots. Those are the diagrams that you see there on the screen. After we're done examining the various research methods, we'll get you thinking and applying what you've learned in our Lesson 2 discussion. There are a number of really intriguing questions that we'll ask you to ponder and come up with various research methods and approaches to answering them, weighing the pros and cons. We hope you have fun with this while you're doing your learning. Finally, we'll also have our positive thinking corner for this lesson, where we'll study a current popular idea in psychology and business and education. It's called the concept of grit. And grit, of course, is a great example of psychology in action, psychology as a living science, and a good example overall of the subject matter of psychology, studying something that's you can't actually hold in your hand, but certainly exists. Overall, we hope that you enjoy your learning in Lesson 2 as we lay the foundations of psychology as a science.